Universal's takeover is getting wild. What seems like the newest target that Universal has are reaction channels for independent creators who often are usually music creatives, and then they have, let's say, a YouTube channel, and the ones that we're talking about today are these reaction channels. So I was in the middle of doing a premiere here on the channel, and then one of our followers alerted me to this video that Knox had put out. He has, I think, something like 1.5 million subscribers, and he does these reaction videos. And so I reached out to Knox, and I was like, let's talk about this situation with Universal filing copyright claims, copyright strikes, right? That become copyright strikes, and what I do as an entertainment attorney to react to these situations, to deal with them. So there's a little bit of strategicness where I'm going to share in case this can benefit anyone who's watching this later, but this plays into what we're talking about with Universal Music and how really, I've been saying it, they are a monopoly. Now, legally speaking, technically speaking, they're not quite a monopoly just yet. And because by definition, they control about 42% of the US market. Okay, they're buying up catalog. They're literally in charge of the music that generates revenue that is put into TV and film, that is on streaming platforms. And in order to be considered a monopoly in the US, you have to be about 50% or more. So they, I think, are very intentionally staying just under the radar. And I think what they're doing, as we've seen, is that, for example, they dropped over $700 million for this acquisition of Downtown. Now, I'm going to get to the reaction channels, why this matters, but just as a refresher with the Downtown purchase, that includes infrastructure for independent artists, right? So CD Baby is owned by Downtown, Curve, Songtrust, these are companies that represent independent artists. And we go, well, number one, it seems like they're doing that because they've kind of hit their cap of how much music catalog they can purchase before they start becoming a monopoly. And then the Federal Trade Commission is going to get involved and break them all up. So I think what they're doing now is that they're looking at infrastructure, because that doesn't mean they own any music catalog, but that greatly matters to us creatives and us online and us as part of just independent music in general, because now the entire ecosystem that we rely on to get our music out there is now going to be controlled by the biggest record label in the world. So that's the context. But going back to this reaction channel issue, it's actually not just this one channel. There's a whole bunch that have been affected, but it's that Universal is now filing these copyright claims at volume. And the problem is that there's a little thing called fair use, which falls under 17 USC section 107, and fair use is built into the Copyright Act as an exception. So this is a judge-made doctrine that basically says if someone's going to transform something into something brand new. So for example, you take someone's music video, you do a reaction to it, so the music video that was 3 minutes now becomes a 30-minute reaction video with context and reaction and commentary and all this stuff. Well, if it is in fact a reaction video, then now it is transformed into something brand new. And so that's protected. So that means you can legally use other people's copyrighted stuff in your videos. So with Knox and his situation, he did a video a few days ago and he was talking about this. And he goes, I have received not one, not two, but a whole bunch of these claims from Universal. And he goes through and very well articulates the fair use factors and why this is just terrifying to him, because he's like, I have built an entire business. I have people relying on me for this channel. And so now, because of the YouTube system that is set up so that if there is a claim, there's a process that you have to go through. And here's kind of the scary part. So he got the warning strike, and the warning strike is basically, it's a 7-day. We're saying that we have a copyright claim on your channel. So this is the courtesy notice, as we call it. And this is through the Content ID system. And so you, as someone receiving this claim, you have 7 days to remove the content, fix it, whatever. And if you don't, and as he called it, because I ended up having a little chat with him today, and he's like, D-Day is coming. And so for him, once these 7 days lapse, they're going to turn into strikes. And so if you guys remember, 3 strikes, you're out kind of rule on YouTube. So for him, having a whole bunch of these pending at once and having potentially the reality of his channel just getting deleted, that's pretty scary. So then what do you do? Well, here's what you do. This is a DMCA claim. So you're going to file a DMCA counter notice. And in fact, I think I still have it up. So I drafted something for him. I will share it with you guys as well as a template that you can use, because it just helps. If you have some legal basis, if you have some cases in literally the text that you send on back, it helps. But here's the thing. You can respond and be like, no, I didn't. I'm a reaction channel. And the person, the company that filed the claim can be like, we don't believe you, which is stupid. And so you have to actually, under oath, submit this, what we call a counter notification. So you're going to appeal and you're going to file this text and be like, it's fair use. I'm a reaction channel. Go pound sand. And then what happens is that the claimant, so in this case, Universal, has 10 business days to file an actual lawsuit. So basically YouTube, and what sucks about this is that YouTube basically is going to be just a middleman that does nothing. And so for creators, there's all kinds of things that happen in between all this stuff where they're not receiving their monetization. The videos, sometimes they lose and the stuff gets taken down and they get the strikes. And so on the general conversation of like these bully tactics by Universal, this is one that's bubbled up and is impacting obviously a lot of different creators. But we've been talking about, well, these lawsuits too. We're seeing that Universal is actually monetizing its copyrights in the music that it owns, right? So you get the copyrights, you register. I actually just did a training on this. If you still need to get your copyrights, I show you how to do it. But your music is very valuable. And so what Universal has been doing is it's going after other big businesses that have deep pockets. And so, for example, one of the little lawsuits that it filed is against TuneCore, music distributor TuneCore, for $500 million. It's also filed a lawsuit against Wayback Machine in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And so it just kind of seems like it's just attacking as like a corporate bully other big businesses that really are its competitor. Because if we go back to if it does fully acquire music distributor CD Baby, well, you're kind of starting to go after your competitors. Back to this is kind of legal warfare. And what is the reason? What is the purpose? Because this is kind of what I mentioned. I'm just like, ultimately, with reaction channels, and I said this when we did a reaction to Rick Beato's similar type of situation, which was a while ago, but he had received a copyright strike. He's like, I'm reacting to someone's song. I'm bringing awareness to it. Isn't this good for these record labels that we talk about the music and we get a whole new generation interested, and then they go and put strikes on our videos? It's just not a good business model. Setting that aside, I don't want to lose my channel. So in any case, I will show you guys this text that I wrote if you do need to file this counter notification. But as far as what we're seeing with the fact that truly, even though that Universal may not be designated as an actual monopoly just yet, I think that's intentional. But on the flip side of this, I think they are. I think they're already there. They are the biggest in the world. They are now strategically infiltrating the independent infrastructure of what we do. So I have a solution to this, but let me just show you this language first. Essentially, all you would do is you will just replace the text that is red. That's it. So you go, in this case, Universal Music Group, which is the claimant, improperly filed in violation of, this is fair use, pursuant to Lentz v. Universal Music Corp. Ha 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 ha. That's funny. And then you just put in what video it is, how long was it used, and then the rest of it is just written for you. Okay? All right, so what's the solution, you may ask? The solution is always going to be that you sell your music directly. But what I want to talk about is like the bigger solution here, which is you have to always take action. When someone is acting predatory, you do something about it. And so actually this goes into our lawsuits right now against Suno and Udio. So if you guys don't know about this, Suno and Udio are generative AI music companies that you go in, you put in some prompts and they can spit out some music. And what's come out, because they were sued by the major record labels and alleging copyright infringement, and in their answers, they admitted that they went to publicly accessible platforms, took a whole bunch of music, trained their AI, and didn't pay anyone anything. And even in Suno's answer in particular, Suno said that it trained on tens of millions of songs. And so in our class action lawsuits that we've already filed on behalf of independent creators, we go, well, you admitted to tens of millions, and just based on simple mathematics, that means a whole lot of that was likely independent artist music. And so we've actually taken the step to do something about this. And so we're in the process of actually writing an open letter. And so you can join and support this. You can go to indieailawsuit.com. And really, there's two ways to get involved. One, you can just join the email list. You can be part of signing this open letter. You can get updates about the lawsuits. Or two, you can become an actual plaintiff and actually join in the fight. And so that's why I'm like, as we see these things are happening and we have these predators, these tech companies, these music distributors, and maybe even the biggest record labels in the world, we talk about it, we acknowledge it, and then we do something about it. If that sounds good to you, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.